So, you want to be a professional speaker. How do you work with meeting planners? My name is David Peterson. I'm CEO of VoiceOver US, and I've been a professional speaker for nearly 30 years. I created this video series targeting those of you that are considering a career as a professional speaker. Now, in my opinion, meeting planners are the unsung heroes of the meeting industry. They have all of the responsibility and literally get none of the glory. If everything goes great in the conference, well, then they've done their job. But if something goes wrong with the food, or if something goes wrong with the speaker, or something goes wrong with the AV, it really all comes back to them. So I find that the key for me is really trying to make their job easy. And I do that in this way. One, I provide what they need when they need it in the form that they need it in. So what are the kinds of things that they need from me? They may need a high resolution picture because they're going to put my picture in their program or use it in some way in marketing. So I'm going to have different pictures for them to choose from. I'm going to make sure those pictures are in the format that they need. They may actually want to look at some sample video. They may want to see my session titles and descriptions. They may want to talk with some references. If they're not familiar with me as a speaker, they may want to talk with other meeting planners who have booked me and used me before as a speaker. So all of those are the kinds of things that you must have ready to go so that you can provide those immediately to that meeting planner. Now, let's suppose you get an engagement. You should have a clear agreement with that meeting planner of what you will provide and all of the remuneration details. I have just a simple letter that spells out when I'm going to appear, what session that I'm going to do, what time, what date, how much money has been agreed upon, about expenses and all of that stuff, just a simple letter, and then I send it to the meeting planner and then they sign that. So now we know that we have a clear understanding. One of the biggest problems is you do all of this and then later you find out that you thought one thing, they thought another thing, and you've got this huge disconnect. It's very, very simple to have a simple, clean speaker's letter signed by the meeting planner in advance. Also, you need to let them know in advance of any special requirements that you may have. So, in a lot of times, I'll have some audio in my presentation. I might show an animation, and then I want the audio from that animation to be available for everyone in the room to hear. So that means I have to have a connection from my computer into the house sound. So I'm going to tell them about that up front. If you walk up on the day of and literally with 30 minutes notice say, hey, I've got to have a sound that comes out of my computer, you are not going to endear yourself to a meeting planner. Now, on the day of the actual engagement, let them know you're on site. The meeting planner is very busy. They have 1,000 things going on. So I make sure that I either find them in person or I actually send them a text or an email to let them know on site. Most of the time, I'm one of the first speakers, a keynote speaker first thing in the morning, so I'm actually getting to the hotel the night before. I'm texting and emailing that meeting planner the night before to make sure they know I'm on property and then checking in with them the next morning as well. You might need to arrange to meet them at a time of their convenience to do mic checks. I've had a situation where I didn't speak until 2 or 3 in the afternoon, but they needed me to do a mic check at 8 o'clock in the morning. Well, that's really kind of inconvenient to me. But you know what? It's not about me. It's about what's convenient to the meeting planner. You also should ask them what you can do to help. I just find this is amazing. I just simply ask the meeting planner, is there anything I can do to help you? Let me give you an example. I was recently speaking at an association out in the Midwest, and I had checked in with the meeting planner, and I was all set to go. I was going to be the opening keynote talk, but the CEO of the association was going to actually speak before me. So I was just kind of sitting off to the side, and I had covered all of my business with the meeting planner. And I heard the meeting planner talking to the AV, the guy sitting at the table running the sound and audio visuals. And she was asking them if they could do a voiceover to actually introduce the CEO. Now, I could just tell from what he was saying in his body language that this AV guy wasn't all that comfortable doing that. And because I actually do some voiceover work, I simply said to the meeting planner, hey, would you like for me to do that voiceover? And she said, oh, could you? And I said, yeah, let me, do you want the voice of God? I mean, ladies and gentlemen, what is it that you want? And so we had a little quick conversation. And so I was kind of behind this screen and did this voiceover kind of, voice of God, ladies and gentlemen. And here comes the CEO and everything worked out perfectly. There was literally no issue for me to do that whatsoever, but it meant a big deal to that meeting planner. It's important. I'm David Peterson. Check out VoiceOver US at www.voiceoverus.com. And stay tuned for more in this series of videos.